What would you do if your own sister slipped contraband into your bag, pointed the finger at you, and your parents smiled politely while the police took you away? Stay with me as I unfold this shocking story, and please don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. It truly keeps me going. The knock came at sunset in Pine Hollow, a neat neighborhood outside Charlotte where lawns were even and secrets were stacked behind picture windows. 2 officers stood at my door, one tall, one built like the gym teacher who had forgotten how to smile. I am Nia Jordan, 23, quiet daughter, homebody, keeper of lists and little routines. I opened the door with clean hands and an open face because innocent people do not hide. We received a tip about illegal substances at this address, the tall officer said. We would like to come in. Behind them, the street looked normal. Same red mailbox. Same crepe myrtle swaying like it had nowhere to be. I stepped back. Okay, I did not ask for a warrant because I believed in my family the way a child believes daylight will return. That faith died 10 minutes later. My mother, Marion, sat in the living room with a porcelain teacup balanced on a saucer. My father, Curtis, hovered beside the mantel. Neither looked surprised. Layla, my sister, leaned against the staircase post in leggings and a hoodie, eyes dry, phone face down. When my mother pointed the officers toward my room, my jaw hung open. Why my room? I asked. No one answered. The officers walked with purpose, as if they had received a map. My old dog, Bingo, lifted his head from my rug and wagged once, as if asking whether this was a game. The short officer went straight to the dresser. He opened the bottom drawer like he already knew. A Ziploc bulged with white pills. A laugh came out of me. It was small and cracked like old paint. That is not mine. We have heard that sentence, the tall one said. He did not sound cruel. He sounded tired. Tell them, I said to my parents. You know that is not mine. The officers turned. The short one asked if my parents had seen me with that bag. My mother nodded, soft and smooth. Yes. She said I had been distant. My father added school pressure. He noted that I spent a lot of time alone. Layla watched me the way a cat watches fish. Blank. Patient. 10 minutes. Later the cuffs clicked on my wrists in our hallway while my dog whined. The porch light came on because the house had a habit of trying to be helpful at the wrong time. The back seat of the police car smelled like old plastic and the last person's fear. At the station, fluorescent lights hummed like a bad choir. They put me in a holding cell with cinder block walls and a bench thin as a book's spine. I did not cry. Something colder filled me. It was the kind of stillness that sits inside a storm and names each wind by its shape. My attorney arrived the next morning. She was not the person I expected when my mother announced she had hired counsel. She was younger, taller, and moved with a quiet fire. Keisha Dorsey. She introduced herself without a smile. I read your report. Your parents say this is unlike you. They also say you have become withdrawn. Have you been? I met her eyes. I said no. Then I told her the truth. My sister planted those pills. My parents are covering for her. Do you have proof? Keisha asked. For a moment my mind stuttered, like a broken clock. Then the memory rushed in. The teddy bear. Last year, Bingo had started having small seizures. I had bought a cheap motion camera hidden in the bear's eye. It recorded to a microcard. No cloud. No Wi-Fi. It faced the dresser. It watched everything. I did not tell Keisha yet. I could not risk anyone warning my family. When they allowed a phone call, I called my best friend, Tiana. She picked up on the second ring. Go to my room. Bookshelf. Brown bear with a crooked bow. Inside is a camera. Take it and take Bingo with you. Now, do not tell anyone. She did not argue. She said yes. The line went dead with purpose. Hours dragged. A day crawled. I held myself together by repeating simple facts. My grandfather, Elijah Tate, called every Sunday. Bingo preferred carrots to biscuits. The truth would breathe if I gave it space. Late the next afternoon, Keisha returned with new eyes. We have something, she said. She folded a laptop open in a small beige conference room. She did not show the video yet. She closed her hands over the lid like a judge covering a verdict. Your family agreed to a pre-trial conference to keep things civil. Let us make it instructive. They arrived together. My mother looked like a Sunday service. My father looked like a paused news clip. Layla wore a hoodie pulled low, sleeves over her hands. The room smelled like old paint and new lies. Keisha turned the screen. The video began. There was my door. There was Layla. She entered with quick eyes and quiet feet. She glanced once toward the hallway, then crossed to my dresser. Her hand slipped into her sleeve and came out holding a Ziploc. She lifted my drawer and slid the bag inside. She did not touch anything else. She did not hesitate. The timestamp pulsed in the corner. 1 day before the arrest. My mother went pale. Not the dramatic, fainting kind. The deep kind that turns a person into paper. My father leaned forward until his elbows rested on his knees like he needed help holding up his face. Layla stared at her own betrayal and blinked fast like she wanted to wash it away and could not remember how. It was supposed to be nothing, Layla blurted. She was not supposed to get arrested. Would you like to revise your statements? Keisha asked. Her voice was gentle. The threat inside it was not. We were protecting the family, my mother said. Her voice had a crack she could not polish. No, I said. You were protecting the picture you show people. You wrapped it around the wrong daughter. Keisha closed the laptop. The next moves were clean. Motion to dismiss. Evidence submission. Notice to the prosecutor about false statements. A request to release me on my own recognizance. The state agreed to review. I walked out with Bingo's leash in my hand because Tiana had my dog waiting in the parking lot. My grandfather's car pulled in as we hugged. Elijah Tate climbed out slowly. His suit was old but crisp. He hugged me so hard my ribs answered with gratitude. I told them I planned to give you everything. He said to me, right there beside the sliding doors, your mother and father asked me to change my mind 3 weeks ago. The timing was not random. A chill ran across my skin like a silver fish. They tried to erase me for money. Come home with me tonight, he said. We will sort the rest tomorrow. Behind us, the courthouse windows held my reflection. I looked small. I also looked awake. Grandfather Elijah's yellow house sat under a pecan tree that whistled when the wind turned east. He poured sweet tea and waited while Bingo explored. The old man did not ask how I was. He set a manila folder on the table. The trust is already signed, he said. It names you and a community arts fund. Irrevocable. They cannot touch it. I did not change it when they called. They called, I asked. Your parents called. Together first, then separately. Both suggested you were involved with the wrong crowd. Both asked me to rethink the future. I asked them where their facts were. They said there was a tip. Now I understand who tipped. We sat with that silence. It turned from cold to useful. Keisha called to say the prosecutor wanted a meeting. The video had spoken louder than my mother's tea or my father's nod. There was a new detail. The police had traced the anonymous tip to a prepaid phone purchased with a credit card that belonged to my mother's boutique. The clerk remembered Layla picking up the phone. The camera in the store remembered too. The next morning, I woke before the sun and felt a strange steadiness. The world had not become kind. It had become honest. Keisha and I met the prosecutor in a glass room that smelled like toner. The short officer for my arrest was there. His face looked different without the shield of procedure. He slid a thin envelope across the table. You should see this. Inside lay a still image pulled from a patrol car camera. It showed my front porch an hour before the knock. My mother and father at the door. Layla on the steps with her hood up. My mother handed something to a man in a dark baseball cap. The man turned. The camera caught his profile. He was my father's co-worker's cousin. He had a record for small things that added up to a larger truth. He had been paid by someone to make calls that did not have fingerprints. The prosecutor spoke without drama. The state will move to dismiss all charges with prejudice. We will pursue charges for filing a false police report, evidence tampering, and conspiracy. There may be further charges related to intimidation of a witness. We also intend to refer the case of the anonymous tip and payment to detectives. I am sorry, Miss Jordan. You were wronged. I thanked her, not because I needed her apology, because the truth deserves manners. Arraignment day arrived with gray sky and wet sidewalks. The courtroom filled with neighbors who wanted a story. Layla stood at the defense table between our parents. Her eyes seemed smaller. My mother's hands twisted a handkerchief. My father stared at the floor, like it held a different answer if he watched long enough. Charges were read. Words like conspiracy and obstruction and perjury stood up and spoke for me. Then something none of us expected happened. A second video played. Keisha had filed it 10 minutes earlier. It came from the same stupid teddy bear. After Layla planted the pills, she had returned with my mother. Together, they walked through my room, rehearsing what to say. The camera caught every sentence. He will ask whether she seemed stressed, my mother said. Say yes, but use the word fragile. Fragile is softer. Layla asked whether she should cry. My mother nodded and fixed her hair. Tears never harmed a woman, she said. Hurt will make them help you. When the audio ended, the judge removed his glasses and let silence teach its lesson. The room felt like a choir that had forgotten its hymn. Layla swallowed and finally looked at me. Her mask slid. I saw the child who smashed my clay horse in 2nd grade and told the teacher I had broken it to be dramatic. I saw the teen who borrowed my cardigan and returned it stretched without apology. But I also saw fear. Real fear. She had always believed our parents could bend outcomes with polite voices and careful connections. Today they could not. Guilty pleas came fast. Layla took a deal for planting evidence and making false statements. 18 months in a women's facility with mandatory counseling and community service on release. My mother and father pleaded to obstruction and conspiracy to file a false report. 18 months each in county, followed by probation. Restitution to the state for wasted resources. A court-ordered letter of apology to me. Those letters would never unring this bell. Their words would arrive on cream paper and not touch the parts of me they had burned. People asked whether I wanted revenge. I thought I did. I thought I wanted to watch them lose everything. Then I watched them stand in handcuffs in front of strangers and say the word guilty, and I understood something finer. Revenge is a hot coal. Justice is a candle. One burns your hand. One lights the room. I chose the light, but the twists were not done. After sentencing, Keisha pulled me aside. There is a civil matter you should know about. 2 months earlier, my parents had changed a life insurance policy to make Layla sole beneficiary. They had lied to the insurer about our relationship. That policy application included 2 false statements that mirrored lies they told the police. The insurer opened an investigation. Fraud is a patient boomerang. Meanwhile, life returned like a careful tide. I moved into grandfather Elijah's yellow house. We fixed the screen door. We painted the hallway a warm color that made the mornings softer. I enrolled in night classes in criminal justice because I wanted to understand the systems that almost swallowed me. I started a small project with the Arts Fund named in the trust. We held workshops for teens who felt like background characters in their own homes. They came with notebooks and questions. They left with poems and breath. One afternoon, while Bingo snored under the kitchen table, a letter arrived. The return address was the women's facility upstate. Layla's handwriting crawled across the envelope like it was scared to be seen. I let it sit for 3 days on top of the fridge. When I opened it, I found 3 pages that did not ask for forgiveness. They did something stranger. They told the truth. She wrote that jealousy grows like ivy when parents water it with praise for one child and polite silence for the other. She wrote that the phone call to the police felt like a magic trick until the handcuffs scratched my skin. She wrote that she had dreamed she was me and woke up gasping because she could not breathe without attention. The letter ended with a single sentence that surprised me. I am not the golden child if I cannot stand in the light. It did not absolve her. It rested next to my anger and did not fight it. I placed it in a drawer beside my student ID and a photograph of Bingo as a puppy. Pain and proof, past and present, both true. A week later, my mother sent a letter that said we were doing the best we could. My father sent one that said time heals all things. I did not write back. Boundaries can be love for yourself when forgiveness is not ready. Grandfather Elijah understood. He taught me to protect my peace the way you protect a candle in wind. Hands cupped, head down, body curved like a shelter. The final twist landed on a warm evening in June when the state's attorney called. A new case had surfaced. The man in the baseball cap who accepted payment on my porch agreed to cooperate. He told detectives that my parents promised him a piece of a future inheritance if he handled the dirty work. He thought it was talk until cash appeared. He wanted a lighter sentence. He gave them text messages, bank receipts, and the time he met my mother at a grocery store parking lot where the camera watched even when people did not. I stood in the yard under the pecan tree and felt my lungs fill with a kind of clean air that had no memory of teacups or polite lies. I had not only survived my family, I had broken the spell that hid inside our house and called it self-love. I was no longer invisible. I was simply Mia, daughter, granddaughter, student of systems, maker of small lights. When neighbors asked me what lesson I wanted from all this, I said something simple. Believe quiet girls. Believe quiet boys. Believe the one who has no reason to shine for strangers. Silence does not equal guilt. Gentleness is not weakness. And a hidden camera in a teddy bear can save a life when the house turns against you. Bingo nudged my leg and looked up with good brown eyes. The sun slid down the street. The first lightning bugs rose like tiny lanterns. The world did not clap. It breathed. That was enough. Thank you for watching till the very end. It truly means a lot, and please subscribe to my channel. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from. We love seeing how far our stories reach. Until next time, stay strong, take good care of yourself. Goodbye for now.